Microphone is now on. What's going on, everybody? Audio levels C. My mic blink out, of course, as soon as I start. Alright, let me know if the volume's wrong. I got my volume wrong last week, so I did a little test before I streamed, but who knows? I'm new to this whole thing. So yeah, I'm going to, I know I've been jumping around a little bit from stream to stream, but today I want to work on some new discs. I think I spent my last two streams kind of talking about method. I did a little bit of sculpting on one of our character organic pieces for the character head last week. So I want to get back to what I was doing in my first stream this week, which is to do mostly low poly stuff and generate some stuff that's going to go into the game. I got a few different disc concepts I want to work up here. I don't know how far I'm going to get. Some are more, I'm going to experiment, and some are more, I have a clear kind of focus, or a clear sort of concept where I want to go with it. So we'll start with some of the easier ones that I think might get done kind of quick. Then we'll go from there. What's up, Render Man? How you guys all doing? Sounds good. Audio's working. All right, doing that Z modeler, Rybot. Nice. Yeah, it's once I started getting into it, I was kind of like, is this really gonna? I spent so much of my life learning all of these other, low poly tools out there. So I was kind of hesitant about Z modeler at first. Now it's like my main low poly tool, and I kind of tend to do things in Z modeler first now. Okay, so I got some concepts over here on my other screen, and let's roll. So yeah, I wanted to do a more fleshed out version of the one that I kind of rushed through in my first stream, which is this sort of beta B in the middle of one of our typical discs. And one of the things I kind of wanted to do, I have an idea of like how I want the shape of the outside to be, so I'm going to start hacking away at this and see if I can't get it to the point where the rough shape is where I want it. I want it to be kind of flat on top with a nice little bevel here. Symmetry here. I definitely know I want to be a little bit more rigid, not my kind of, the other ones are kind of like they're all rounded. I want this one to be kind of like more tapered. So I'm going to remove all of these in here, start nice and flat on the inside. Mirror and weld in Z to get that edge back. Crease some edge loops here. Hold that form a little bit. Actually going to end up rounding this edge. There we go, I like that. Another thing I'm doing a lot lately is using transpose with Z modeler. If you do some clever masking, you can really get some like nice tweaking done. So I'll just isolate that edge loop there. I'm in Y symmetry, so I think they'll both be isolated. Yeah, they will. Okay, that's a good start there. So that's roughly the shape I want to have. Now I'll deform nicely. And what I can do is, actually I'm going to bring that down even more. I'm making it more to a T, or more to a... This is an awful song. Kind of reminds me of the Sonic Generations music, but it's not quite there, so I don't like it. What's up, Ashley? Thanks for stopping by. Let's bring that in a lot more. And a thing I'm doing a lot lately that I really like is to multiple edge loop, interactive elevation. What I like to do here is just pop things out and do kind of like a custom bevel. It's a little too round still. Sort of single edge loop right here. Delete that one. There we go. Get a nice outside round shape for us to play with here. An interactive elevation will allow me to sort of do multiple, and there we go. That's more what I'm looking for. Like I want like a slim taper like that, and the thing that's cool about that is with most of the bevels that you would do in a Maya or like procedural bevels, without that little like getting that nice little arc right there. That's like exactly what I was picturing, but it's hard to do mechanically, so like doing it kind of interactively right there helped me get kind of the shape I wanted a lot faster. Yeah, I'm using the red wax. I actually agree with you guys. I did organic last week, and I work with let me clear these creases, they're distracting me. Yeah, I work with the gray mostly when I'm doing organic. There's something about the red wax that increased cavity map is helpful for me when I'm doing low poly. When I'm doing Q modeler and low poly, it helps that like if you kind of switch between the two, you see that like you're kind of losing a little bit in that shader, which is fine because it's stuff that's not going to probably render out anyway. But when I'm working low poly, it's like I really love seeing every edge. So it's just one of the ways I work right there. Oh, you guys are playing some Disc Jam. That's awesome. Yeah, our beta is is live on PS4 now, guys. So if you want to check out Disc Jam, it's at discjamgame.com. You can go give the beta a try, and yeah, let me know what your feedback is. Two-man team did the entire thing, so I did all the art, my partner did all the engineering, and we both kind of did everything else. Let's poly loop and bring this in a little bit. Yeah, see, it's a nice little build up. way down. Insert multiple. Can even get like a rounded little ring on the inside, which I think might be cool. Yeah, screw that. Main thing I want here is for this like one little flat area to be like kind of resting place for your palm of your hand. So the thinking is like that part would be in the butt of your hand there, and then your fingers would kind of have this nice little resting place on this thing. So bring it in a little bit farther, that might work. There we go. Yeah. Now we're talking. Got a nice little flat area there. Kind of lip for your fingers to roll over. I almost wonder if I should bring this down a little bit. Ugh, I love doing that. This is actually something I just learned. I forget, I think it was Drust in a recent ZBrush that taught me this. I did not know that this little white dot centers your transpose line on the available geo. So for example, if I unmask that bit right there, that's sort of like centering the pivot, and it like does its best to sort of reconcile that. That's not super helpful right here. It can be helpful when you're doing organic modeling if you want to just like, you know, section off the arm or something like that. But it's super helpful when you're doing kind of low poly symmetrical procedural stuff, because, you know, this is a perfect circle that's unmasked right there. This little pink ring in there is what's unmasked. So if I do that, it's going to just calculate the math to put it dead center on that circle, totally perpendicular to the world axis. So that's super helpful. I think that's all I needed to do that operation. Nope. Let's bring that really tight in there. Oh, did I blew that? I blew it. There we go. What is symmetry? Oh, yeah. Strange. A lot of this early stages are just eyeballing stuff, and it's kind of about just finding some good shape. Going from there, playing around. Yeah, it's basically exactly what I want. Nice, now we're talking. Yep. I think I'll probably crease that top one as well. I think I'd like this one to be creased. Yeah, there we go. That's gonna hold its geometry nice. Yeah, it's just one of those things. You know, the red wax is. I didn't realize it was so hotly contested until I started watching some of my colleagues' other streams. Robo Wheels, feel free to hit me up. I'm not going to be doing any Substance Painter on Pixo's channel, but we can walk through that together. You know, you can tweet at me, or you can send me a whisper or something. We can step through that at a later date. Also, if you go to Wes McDermott on Algorithmic's channel, he does it a lot of different ways, and he kind of walks through all the different ways you can do that low to high poly. I'll be building this kind of low to high poly, where like I'll export one that's like this and UV'd by polygroups, and then I'll get a high res super out, and then I'll export that as well. Yeah, I don't know. Red wax is something there's people complain about. Hiss, yeah, they don't like it. That's awesome. Awesome. Thanks for stopping by, DJ Boons. I'm glad to hear you guys are having fun with the beta. Zero Major. Yeah, no. Release date for Disc Jam, I assume you're asking about, is Q1. So right around the corner here, actually. Actually, I hope you guys will forgive me if I'm a little bit dazed today. I didn't get much sleep last night because we're in the middle of a lot of certification submissions and getting a lot of stuff done at the moment. So please forgive me if I start to wander aimlessly. Let's get back on track here. Let's bring up my reference. I think I want to do a nice little... Okay. So this part's actually going to be kind of tricky. I hadn't really practiced how I wanted to do this. I think I'd probably be better served doing this at higher res later on. Or I could also potentially do this with a cut. But I think the best thing to do would be to cut this out later and retope it. No, beta is for Disc Jam, which is the game we're making assets for right now. I'm not sure if you guys are talking about R8 or you're talking about this. I'm not quite sure. Actually, I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to run and grab a water real quick. 1 second. Okay. I want to append a cylinder to the middle bit. Times 3 is 36. I want to get that on the primary axes that I care about, which is the thirds and the quads. I don't need vertical divides. Horizontal divides is correct. Okay, make polymesh 3D. Give me a nice low res piece of geo to play with. Nope, wrong thing. Made. Now let's embiggen. This is just when something's centered around the origin, I just like to use instead of messing with the transpose tool. If I know it's going to be centered, I'm just working with base geo. I tend just to mess with the deformation slider. Just get it sized up to a nice ratio that I like. What is that gonna do? Does that work for me? I think it does. Probably need a little more room for the fingers. They are gonna kind of grip on that. Let me take it down a little bit, just a little. The one thing I will say to you guys about, I mean, R8 and Z5, and I certainly don't know. I'm not on the inside for any of this stuff. I'm sort of, it's my first interface ever with Pixelogic is doing these streams, so I'm not on the inside for any of this stuff. But one thing, you know, I would mention is just that as a software developer, I can comment to this fact is that, you know, it's a very fluid process, very fluid process, software development. So you kind of have features creeping in and out of, you know, there might be things that are going to be in ZBrush R5 or ZBrush 5 R1 that are going to be in R8 now, and like they're not publishing that information because it's all proprietary, and they wouldn't want to, you know, they're working through those things internally, I assume. And so, you know, you don't even know what R8. I'm excited for R8 because every single new release adds something massive, and just based on the demo vid they did on R8, I'm pretty excited about the stuff they're going to have in it. So it's something to think about. You know, it's like there's nothing really to be disappointed about because you didn't even know it was going to be in ZBrush 5 in the first place. So I like that. Probably keep it about that size. That'll be sort of the center sort of plate thing. You know, I think this overall size needs to just come up. Yeah. What this would do. Now I'm just experimenting a little bit with inflate because I want to see the result I would get. And I think I actually like that a little bit. It's always fun to kind of... So what I did was I made it a lot bigger, but then deflated it, so it kind of grew in on itself a little bit, and there's a little bit of a pinch on those edge loops right there, but that honestly came out great. Now it's a little more fit in the palm of your hand. Bring that up to match. Now we're making discs, people. Now we are making discs. Another thing about low poly is working low poly. You just have so much freedom with the transpose line because you can just draw point to point, and then like you know you're symmetrical, which is super helpful. Anybody who's gotten down that like if your axis is off by like a degree or two, oh, it's a nightmare. Because then you don't really notice it until it's too late, and you make a bunch of edits, and you don't even know how far back you need to go, and it's just a pain in the butt. All right, so that's gonna be that there. From here, I want to do radial symmetry in the y-axis. Yep. And I want to do 4 little spikes coming out of here. Insert cylinder. So this area is going to dip in like this. I want the I want this part here on this quadrant to be the kind of grip, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of just push this in here, and I'll do this more carefully. I'll do something like this. I'm actually surprised how well that just worked. How about it? Dude, how about this? It's actually pretty close to what I wanted to do. I'm gonna undo that and back that up. But like right around there, where it's just like kind of indented a little bit, but still maintains the kind of round form, is what I'm after. I'm gonna end up doing this with Z Modeler so that I kind of maintain the edges I want. But it's kind of nice to work in low poly because you kind of get that control. So like, it's actually pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with that curve right there. I'm surprised how well that worked out for me. One thing you'll notice is that this, just in my little kind of analog movement there, I mess up that line, right? So one thing you can do to re-straighten is just grab the geo you want. So I only have that line isolated. I want to get a straight line back, so how do I do that? I want to get a straight line back, so I'll grab this clip curve brush, and with only that line unmasked, I can now just drop a quick curve on it, and now it's straight again. And I'll probably do this bigger so I can see more clearly. Yeah, you know, just like right about where the thing is. Now we got a nice straight line again. There we go. I brought it down a little bit, so I'll bring it back up. Mirror and weld again, and then we're all set. That's actually a nice little indent. It's actually the indent I was looking for. I was figuring out how to do. I would not typically do that with the move brush, but that worked out great for me. So like that. Get that edge nice and straight again. Yeah, see, like playing with a nice little curved surface like that while maintaining all this like rigid hard body stuff is kind of tricky. I use 36 segments robo wheels because I'll probably use this in game. Like this will be the in-game mesh right there. 60 would be kind of superfluous anyway, because when you put a normal map on there and projecting all that detail, you know, you're not going to pick out any, even like at this distance. At this distance, you got to look real hard to pick out like these jagged edges right around here. You have to look real hard to see them, and that's kind of like the main thing, is that like you don't really want to see jagged edges. For example, here's a prop that like you can see these jagged edges here, 90-degree turns, sharp points all around. This was all done in Z Modeler, and the thing that I don't, you know, typically I would bevel these edges more and round these off, and like this harsh cut right there. But this is so far away in game, you're never close to this prop. I mean, like, this is, to be honest, there's probably too much detail in this prop as it is, but I get carried away and it's so much fun to make this stuff. But like, you know, you want to avoid those jagged, hard, crisp things, because those kind of really, you know, they're not what real world things are like, and so on and so forth. So, you know, I try to avoid that, of course, but when the more important thing is that when you realize that when things are this far away, I mean, it's probably like that big on camera, and, you know, even still, you can kind of see that hard 90 degrees, which I'm not wild about. But, you know, that's the kind of thing. So with this, you know, not being able to see jagged edges on this rounded surface is really all that matters, because this will be the in-game mesh right there. It's only, you know, 1,500 points, so however many polys that ends up being. Straight line might not have cut the right side. It appears straight, but it could be wrong. Well, it's straight enough for me for now, that's for sure. If I end up noticing it's off, I can always drop it into a vertex alignment. I think you're right there, actually. Just for my own sanity, we're gonna do this again. Y symmetry, mirror and weld in Y. Just in case. Looks straight, but can't really be too sure. That's definitely straight. Okay, so I'm ready for that part there. That looks good. Now what I'm probably end up doing here is sort of just getting a super high resolution version of this. I want to try and do, I'm probably going to duplicate this off. Duplicate. And then let's do solo here. Crease, groups by normals, crease polygroups. Let's add some resolution here. I think I'm working on a pretty big file here. Two things. Oh, it came out great. 260,000, it's about exactly what I want. I want to probably turn off projection here. Already done a mesh. Probably want to project, just want to be a little faster. Do a little clay polish. There we go. Nice. Yeah, nice little dynamish there. I believe I actually made an alpha for this. Jammers, alphas. Oh, there she is. Make a nice little alpha for this already. Yeah, the slice brush is a perfect thing for that as well as MX. I don't want to add any geo, so I just figured I'd work with that edge that I had, but yeah. Yeah, now we're talking. Alright. So I'm going to use the mask pen with the drag rect. Then I'm going to change my stroke to make sure it's... What do I do wrong here? Why can't I select that? I'm in mask. Shouldn't matter though. No, I've done this before. Yeah. Definitely want to. And we're back. So yeah, anyway, I know there is a way to do this. I'm just not sure what it is right now. So we're going to find out how. One thing I want to do... One of these controls that. Oh, it's the focal shift. It's focal shift. My bad. It's pretty centered there. I think in my concept I had it a little off to the right because of the balance of the B. That's a little more heavy. I think I'll drag it right there. I think that feels pretty good. What do you guys think? So what I like to do now is Control W, drop that into its own. You see it's a little jaggy there. Because there's enough resolution here in the Dynamesh, we have so much resolution that we can do a polish by groups on that. Mess those edges up a little bit. I'm not worried about that right now. So we have a number of things we can do here. A lot of times, since I'm going to be dropping this into the circle, there's a few things I could try and do here. I could make this into a boolean and then use it as a cut for something else. I could turn into panels and then make those panels, use those panels as sort of the separators for this. I think what I'm going to end up doing though is I want to make this into an edge loop. I also want to draw it out. That's about the size I want too. Okay. So I think what I'm going to end up doing here is now I'm going to grab this, throw an edge loop on it, maybe like 4 with a polish. Let's do the default settings, see how that does for us. That allows me to do a nice see how clean that came out? Now we're cooking with fire. Because basically the thing I want to do is I want to make this sort of the beta B read but still be kind of abstract, so I'll probably encircle it. Actually, I'm trying this circling right now. So that worked out quite well. Let's try that some more here. Let's do another circle here. Kind of the same place. Yeah, so if I've not done that, maybe set that to its own. I want it to be right on the rim of that B so I can incorporate the B with this ring. I'm just eyeballing at this point, but Ah, damn. Pretty sure you can grow this mask. So I'll grow it a little bit and then sharpen it. There we go. Reach just to that point there. It's exactly the point I was going for. Sharpen the mask by Control Alt click. Yeah, I put autosave. Actually, I think it's the default. The default hotkey for autosave is 9, and I hit 9 pretty regularly. I just kind of anytime I do some geometry up, I just pop over, hit 9. So I'm pretty happy with that. I wanted that little cut to be different there. My concern now, though, is that with as far down as I went to reach that stem of the B, I didn't get enough vertical clearance on the B, but we'll see if this works. If not, it didn't take too long to try that again. Let's back this off to 2 groups loops. That amount of polish seemed to work. Let's try that. Yeah, worked great. A little more roundness to those. Symmetry back on. Let me clean my menus are killing me here. Alright, symmetry back on, not radial, in Y. Yeah, now we're talking. Probably just end up flipping geometry anyway, and I'll do that. I can even, since this is going to be a game res asset, yeah, the beta disc is going to be exclusive for the beta players. That's the point of this piece of geo here. It's going to be like a kind of a pristine. Let me close that out. So what it is, you have to bear with me here because it's kind of all in my head here. But like this outer part is like a marble, and it's like a marble kind of heavy. It would never fly, but it doesn't matter because it's magic, and arcade games are magic, so we don't care. But there's this kind of gold beta B in the middle, and the B shape itself is like this emissive energy kind of fluid texture, and then the part that's kind of standing out right there is going to be like a gold kind of casing for it. So this is all gold, but the inside part's all this kind of blue emissive. To be honest, I think this is gonna probably Z-remesh quite well. I probably can do this procedurally. One thing to keep in mind is, you know, if the look is there, I might do this by hand and just keep it high resolution, come back in and do a retope. But if I can get this to Z-remesh with keep groups, we're talking turkey. Let's give it a shot. But yeah, Kyle, this is going to be a disc that's going to go in game for our beta players. We get a lot of requests for our beta. Hit a pretty big number of beta players, more than we ever could have expected. And the question we get the most is, when's it come out, and can we get some free stuff for being in the beta? So we definitely want to reward the people who played in the beta, because I mean, it's amazing. We're just so excited to have people play. It's an online multiplayer game, so having people in the game has been really helpful for us. I think this geometry is going to be a little too thin up here. Oh wow, no, handled it great. That's amazing. Not only that, they handled all this really well. That's pretty awesome. Oh, there's some bad geo in here. Hopefully it doesn't mess with us too bad. Just want to see what's in there. Yeah, a lot of that geo got overlapping. Must have botched that on my transpose. But let's see if it matters. It might not. The last Z-remesh seemed to handle it really well. Let's go low with it. part of doing this stuff is always like just playing the guessing game of like, by trying to get a procedural result to work 100% of the time, am I just wasting time and like keeping this as clay, which is something I can clean out later and be okay with. But considering how well it handled, yeah, that was my mic pinging. That noise was like, bang, bang. That's my mic trying to be real. Yeah, I think this bad geo is gonna end up messing with me too much. There might be a way to just, let's just play around here, guys. Let's experiment. Dynamesh. Yeah, that turned out great too. A nice Dynamesh, cleaned all that G out. Main thing there is I lost the groups there, so that might be a problem. Yeah, it's gonna mess with that a little bit. I think I'm being a little ambitious trying to get this procedural. If anything, I'll have to just come in and work this out on my own. Yeah. Too ambitious, but that's all fair enough. Let's do some more playing around. I think the main thing I want to do is make that B. Let's keep that the same size. Extend the stem maybe? Do it all again. Well, you know what? Let's try that. I think the Dynamesh with groups, do you mean ZRemesh keep groups? Because Dynamesh with groups I think separates us all into different pieces, if I'm not mistaken. I think it closes holes and separates everything. Yeah, that's not gonna work. And I was doing actually a keep groups. I don't think I didn't show that, but like keep groups is what I was trying to. But I think it was just fighting with the fact that it had too much of that stuff there. I want to clean this up anyway. I don't like how this part up here, it's too narrow anyway. It's gonna bother me until I fix it anyway. What's happened? Lost. Didn't crash on me, it just got minimized. I run with 3 monitors, so sometimes things get a little wonky. Yeah, I already edge looped it once, Red Jackal, so that's what I did to kind of get to the first part. But as soon as I started transposing it, I made the mistake. I got it edge looped, and that's how I got that nice, perfect cut inward. But then I made the mistake of I was kind of sloppy when I started transposing it, and I buried some geo within itself, and that kind of cost me there. But no worries here. Let's combine those two. That's a bad color choice. There we go. Let's go back to my mask pen, freehand. Not super straight, but I think with, what have I done? I think a little polish by groups. Some decent edges there. Oh, that's why. It's gonna cause me trouble there. That's fine. I'll probably do a regular polish as well. Group this is visible. I don't care if that gets rounded. I'd probably prefer if that to get rounded. Yeah, that's more what I was picturing. That's closer to my concept, and it's worth going back and getting that right. Let's get a quick save here. Yeah, we'll do some edge looping. Just curious what a groups on normals would even look like. Kinda did it for me. I don't know. I feel like that kinda worked. That area will probably be a little bit of trouble. I'm gonna try and do a same or a half polys, Z remesh, keep groups. Cut her in half, looks pretty good. Definitely rounding these shapes more than I would like. I think it's going to start affecting me a little bit. try one more. I don't think I'm gonna get very far with the ZRemesh just because there's a complication of these little rounded edges up here, along with like the sharp edges. I think it's just gonna end up fighting itself a little bit too hard, but I just wanted to experiment a little bit with it. Turn smoothing down, keep groups. See if I can get it down to like 10,000. Keep groups. No smoothness. Might not be the kind of thing where it just makes sense. I mean, I think by now it would have. Ooh, see, like that came out pretty good. Yeah, that's the area that's always going to be fighting. Yeah, I'm going to come in and do this later manually with just the retopo brush. It'll probably be faster. But I'm happy with the look, which is what matters for that piece. A little beta coin in the middle. Now that I see it, I kind of hate it. I'm going to duplicate this one off and we're going to do another one. Stem is a little too long. Okay. Rectangle. Bring it down a little bit lower. I want it to be right there. I want to trim the stem off this alpha. It's mostly this B. It kind of sits right in the middle. Even bigger. Key I'm looking at is that bottom loop of the B and the top part. I want to get just so a nice thin arc. Ah! Of course. Care about that right now. So like this distance here to the outer ring is similar to that distance there. It looks pretty close, just eyeballing it, and that's what I was after all along. Never actually made a shape like this before, so the fun bit is that I get to sit here and experiment until I get it right, and now I'm quite happy with it. loops.
I'm running away from this pain. I'm trying to find a new way where the sun's shining down on my face.
So yeah, since it's going to be a game asset anyway, I'm going to kind of ignore this backwards face, because I'm going to flip this and do a geo that's backwards in UV anyway, so it'll be correct on the low poly when it gets projected in game. Yeah, there we go. There's our B. Yeah, much better. Now it's more central. Yeah, now we're talking. Why don't you just do it the first time, right? Can delete that one. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do was kind of like some casing. I'm going to duplicate that off. So for this, I can just use a little bit of Q mesh brush.
I'm running away from this pain. I'm trying to find a new way where the sun's shining down on my
Radial
face.
count, there you go.
I'm running away. You're in a toxic relationship.
This song's killing me.
Time to be free.
So I'll use poly loops to swing this out more. Inside that. Let's do some radial. There we go. That's exactly the shape I was trying to achieve. It's tricky when you get the radial stuff and you start doing face extrusions, because you can really quickly introduce a curve that you don't desire. Is that the same polygroup as this? Get real. That's annoying. Flat island. Flat polygroup. Yeah. Harder edge right there. Okay. After all of that, I think I'm going to end up deleting these. Making that a little crunch here on the outside. this in because I want this to be the light. Yeah, so that'll be an emissive light that sort of like connects to the blue B in the middle. Yeah, I like to, in my first stream I talked about my buttons a little bit. I like to have, I like to stay out of the menus entirely. I even got all my hotkeys set up so I can really, you know, stay in my subtool stuff, my crease stuff, my geometry stuff, brushes. I can make a tri-parts insert mesh from right here, if need be. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of menus. In every like content creation app I use, I'm constantly just trying to find hotkeys and ways to make things a little bit faster. Let's crease this bad boy. Okay. I wanted to do like little kind of trinkets on here. Just browse around for some stuff that might look good. It's a little too industrial. This one here I like. Huh. Oh, I must have. Let's see, I botched this. I lost my radial symmetry at some point. Let's see here. I think I pulled this one out all by itself. Yeah, I turned off symmetry. And there we go. Get it back here. Ooh! Thank God for undo. Thank God for undo and thank God for save. I wanted something like that. Just kind of experimenting with these gems. I'm probably not going to roll with these gems. I just wanted to see. Actually, it kind of balances the shape a little bit nicely. Don't really need to be gems for that. I can just do. Hey Antics, now I'm making a disc for our game Disc Jam. Um, just kind of playing around with some placement of some gems on the thing right now. But yeah, it's basically like a throwing disc. Here's like another one. For example, like they're pretty wacky. It's an arcade game, so like that was an old sketch one I did. Here's one I did that's supposed to be like a joystick disc, so it's kind of a disc version of a joystick. So I'm just kind of toying around, trying to make this one into this sort of like plate in the middle kind of thing. I think the thing to do here. I always tend to get lost in my little kit bash folder here of all these IMMs I have. Rebel pack. It's a little too rebelly. Gem might actually be my best bet. That's the x-axis, huh? I think that's no wonder I was having trouble on an X. I'll duplicate that, rotate it by 90. These are actually super low poly, they're only 120 points. Hold shift to snap this into place. Not sure my symmetry is doing, so I'm just going to do it this way. Yeah, right, but I've been following the IMM thread over at Zebra Central since the very beginning of it, and it's kind of died off now, but man, I've gotten So many good brushes out of that. People just, they're making brushes for their own personal use and throw it up there, and all of a sudden you have a brush and it's like, hey, here's 15 different spikes. If you wanted to make a fence and you want like a kind of like a pike at the top. It's just so useful. So I just try to kit bash as much as possible. I remember seeing an artist talk about kit bashing alphas, and now it's kind of commonplace for people kit bash ZBrush IMMs. Yeah, and that's just my like default folder of stuff. Then I got stuff that's like all based out on like this is stuff that I think is just mech stuff. That's all just in IMM. I have actually stuff that's out here that's like all just clothing, all just human, all just mech, things like that. It's just screws and bolts and stuff like that. But I try to. It's hard to keep organized, and as you can see when I'm kind of looking through it, it's kind of like, ugh, that's kind of cool. I didn't know I had this. That might make sense a lot for this marble. But yeah, again, like I don't really, I don't even know the amount of stuff I have. Look at all these clamps. It's just like, if I just get something, I throw it in there. And I buy a lot of the Gumroad stuff. Like, there's a lot of good artists out there on Gumroad who just, for $3 they'll sell you a bunch of stuff. And if I see it's it's $2 or $3, see a good amount of content on there, I usually pick it up. It comes in handy a lot, but I also, it's kind of overwhelming. It's kind of a lot to keep up with. I'm going to just raise off the surface, and that way when it goes to bake in the high res for the game resolution mesh, if I have that gem just off the surface there, it'll cast a nice little shadow right there. Oh, you know what? There's this one trick that I think would be perfect here that I absolutely love. As I kind of showed last week, I have this techniques OneNote where I just kind of, if I see something I like, I store it off into a kind of technique thing, and it's just something that I'm never gonna remember all of it, like this thing right here, this ovals thing. This is another one from Just. Let me just click where it came from so I can give credit where credit's due.
And on this point here and this point here, I'm gonna split these guys. I'm just gonna split them once.
Yeah, this is from
this replay action.
Pixelogic. I caught this.
Split this point of that size and then split point of that size. Both of them.
I want to do that exact thing right there.
So now I want to make this.
So I saved the three little steps of doing that, and the way I'm gonna do this. Do you think the harsh angle on the B will cause some baking trouble? So I've already kind of resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to retaupe this anyway. It was nice to have the flexibility of, I know I had the alpha. The alpha didn't have that nice circle in it. I didn't know how big I wanted it to be relative to the disc. So what I use ZBrush for is to take that alpha, turn it into the right shape, and this is exactly the balance of my sketch. If I can find it. So like that's kind of what I was going for, and I got a better alpha, so this actually came out a lot cleaner than the sketch is, and so now that I got this high-res shape, it's exactly the shape I wanted. I'd like to be able just to one-click retaupe that and do that in Z-Remesh, but I'm pretty sure just because of like the rounded edges fighting against the kind of crisp edges, I think that a procedural result would just have too much cleanup anyway. So I'm pretty much resigning myself to the fact that I'm gonna retaupe that by hand, but that's not gonna take me very long. I mean, and then doing it by hand will actually be nice and clean because like I will make this a nice, sexy little turn right there, and I'll make this, probably a little bit straighter you know, in the low poly tools. I'll probably end up doing that in ZBrush. You know, see if I can get to. I might even do it on stream here. I got another hour and a half anyway. So like, you know, I might do the low poly I might do here on the channel, but we'll see. I might be more fun to do the low poly off camera and then get on to the next disc I want to do. But we'll see. See what I'm feeling. Just want to see what would happen if this is kind of another experiment I want to run. Ah, what have I done? This is an edge action. Let's keep it on insert. So I'm gonna see if I can do a fall off here. Be a little clever. Yeah, it's too. Fall off's not gonna work. Yeah, it's too silly. Alright, let's go back to what I was doing. Okay. So I want to make a little window here. Yeah, that big. Here to there. Get it all the way around nicely. Now, if I remember, oh, they need to have that straight line in between them. That's right. No, it's not as fun. I've actually never tried this method before, but I think it'll work. Collapse to here. Collapse to there, collapse to there, collapse to there, collapse to there. Ah! Alright, there's one down. Looks like it might just work. Never actually done it this way. I've never done it across a an angle like that. I think I'll probably come here and just delete these edges out. You save right there. Pretty nifty. Is there like geometry there? There's something here. Oh, I think I know why. I don't think I can delete. Delete the median line. I don't think you're allowed to do that. Missing something. Not sure what yet. That was it. Yeah, gotta keep that median line, otherwise your geo in the middle doesn't work. So let me do this one more time. And a little triangle at the end. That's the key. Now, let's see. Nifty. Huzzah. And it's all nice and clean, like we like. Let's crease that. Ooh, nice and mirror Y, mirror and weld Y. I'll do that, I'll hold that up nicely. The main problem left is this geo is causing some weird deformation. Pop that out of there. So I got a nice little ring there, which is exactly what I'm after. I wanted a little window into the emissive so that there's a glow coming off of that inside bit too. So like that's going to be a nice little porthole. I can throw some supporting geo around it. Oop, that's probably not the thing to do. It's probably not the thing to do at all. I just wanted to see what happens. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, that'll do. Radial kaleidoscope geometry. I'm not really sure. What is that? I'm not sure what that is. Walrus, this is a B for beta. And if you can imagine what this might be for. If you were to take a guess, Walrus, what do you think that's going to be? So that'll be the grip. Now that I'm looking at this, I kind of hate this outer ring for a few reasons. I'm going to bring that back. Actually, no, the quickest way to bring this back would be just to delete these edges. I think what I want to rather do is mask a little bit off. So the grip's going to be right here. That's where they'll hold on to it. So I think I probably want to keep that. The hand's going to obstruct that. But I think this part could be another one of those little windows. Because we like to put a lot. We put a lot of emissives on the discs. Because the game is so shiny and emissive, it's like an arcadey thing. So we want to make sure that even from far away, if we put a nice bright light inside there, it's going to shine. Kaleidoscope painter. So I'm not sure what your question is. You want to model with something like this? It's a pretty nifty little app, to be honest. There's any numbers of ways you can do something like this in ZBrush. You could turn this into a poly paint, and then you could import the poly paint texture into ZBrush and do something like that. Already kind of having fun doing this myself. So like, say you wanted to make something like this in ZBrush. What I would do is, I would take what I'm doing here. It's a pretty nifty little disc. Well, I don't understand, Red Jackal, what's the difference between this and radial symmetry in ZBrush. I mean, this is just radial symmetry with a color applied to the brush. It's too much. Oh, there's no undo here. Where's my Alt Z undo? Where's my Dynamesh? But yeah, I mean, this is just radial symmetry, man. And the only thing this does differently than radial symmetry is it like changes the color as you're doing it. And I don't know if there's a brush that does. There's color sprays. Color spray does change the color, but not in the same way this changes color. If you wanted to recreate this exact thing, you know, it depends on what part you'd want to recreate. Getting distracted here. That was kind of fun. I like that laugh. I'm gonna keep that. But like, you could also take that radial with kaleidoscope. What am I missing here? I mean, that's definitely just a radial. That's a radial brush. The origin's the middle. I draw out, I draw in. The only thing that's different about this is the color is changing. Oh wait, is that it? Like if I go in this direction? No, I mean... Yeah, anyway. This is way off topic. I can't really help you there. I would try to put together some, I would try to work with the radial brush and get the effect you're after. If that's not doing it for you, then I would just take what you're doing in that application, turn it into some kind of poly paint, bring the poly paint in as a texture, and drop that down. You can turn that poly paint into poly groups. You can generate poly groups from poly paint, and then all the stuff you do over there can become geometry in here. It reflects to both sides. Yeah, beyond regular radial symmetry in ZBrush. I don't know that it does that, but if you figure out a way to do something like that, that's interesting. But yeah, radial with mirroring, I don't think you can do... I'm so off topic here, but I'm just curious. Let's duplicate this. Let's create a bunch of geometry. Crease. Groups by normals, crease polygroups, so it's going to hold its shape here. Delete lower, let's dynamesh that. So let's do radial count of 16. And let's just do... Let's do lazy. Like this part is definitely accurate to the same if I go in. And what I'm trying to figure out is that like as I went over, it did something different. Like the kaleidoscope. I mean, I got mirroring on here. Anyway, radial symmetry is a really fun way to just kind of play around and find some shapes that work. There you go, guys. Brand new disc. Polished by groups. I could seriously mess with this stuff all day, it's too much fun. But yeah, I mean, literally just messing around with that, and I got this weird little shape. This could be, you know, the cork on the inside of some intricate piece of like magic, you know, some arcane thing that came out. Or that, you know. Or that one with inflate. There you go. That's just a matter. I mean, that was probably 15 seconds. You know, it's kind of an interesting, dumb little shape. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's not gonna win any awards, but hey. It's just like another thing. It's like, for 15 seconds, that's a funny little piece of geo. Kind of bad geometry there, the way I did that. Oops. Yeah, now we're talking. kind of feel like I'm going to put that in a disk. I kind of feel like I'm just going to put that into a disk in the game at some point. I'm definitely not going to get rid of this piece, even though it's like kind of lazy. I'll probably come in and do another one just to mess around. But you can do that in 15 seconds, like that, just to kind of show one of these things. Like that's like something you can do here. Anyway, back to business. Alright, so I like that there's going to be a little thing there for an emissive window. We like to have emissives. Like I said, we have, you know, emissive lights on the outside so that when they rotate, there's a little like wong 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 wong, and like we like that it breaks up the monotony when it's spinning. I like that if it's at an angle, you'll see a little bit of emissive in there, and I like that there's going to be like an emissive sort of moat, if you will, where the B will be kind of spinning and highlight. So there's that many lights that are going to be on it, and then we can have the rest of this stuff be a little bit more, you know, matte materials that are just kind of catching good light. And I think if I'm going to do anything else, I want to keep this whole thing going to be marble. So I'm kind of deciding if whether or not, it kind of reminds me actually of this. Let me see if I have a render of this axe. It's a nice screenshot, huh? Yeah, so I have this axe, and it's like, this is basically kind of like, sort of happen in the same way. It's like, I'll do marble and then maybe like a rubbery grip on the outside, and I'll do some ZBrush alphas. Like that was like a model that I had. That's from like a painting of some model that I turned into an alpha to make a fallen angel for like one of our like fallen angel characters. So like, all this stuff's done in ZBrush, where like I do the chiseling out, I do the digging in, and then, you know, the whole thing comes out of shadow box in 5 minutes. Then you give it a little paint over. I'm gonna do like an arcane pattern on the tip of the axe, turn that into an alpha, bring it back into ZBrush, and do exactly what I've just done here. And I just drop it in there, cut a little groove into the geometry, and then we're done. Wipeout, you haven't missed much. I made this little disc here. Had some trial and error trying to get these little windows cut out on the inside, but they came out okay. Nice little, and this is all game resolution. The main thing I want to stress is that this is all game resolution right now. So I'm gonna check that in as is, and I'm not gonna need to retope any of this stuff. I'm gonna need to retope this B because that was a little bit too hairy. But for the most part, this is pretty much ready to rock in game. I'm going to take this over into the texturing package, bake some nice normals on it, and then I might do something with a grip on these 4 extremes. Let's just mess around with that and see if I can't find a shape that I like. Let's see here, what's the best way to do this? It's probably to poly group the poly loop. Boop, there we go. Now, all of our grips kind of come outward. I wonder if it'd be cool if some of these went inward. Like, 'cause this is definitely going to be. I'm liking that already. It still makes me think though that these ones on the outside, they look like they're the grip, because why would the grip? Like, I'd like this part's definitely gonna be the grip. That's where your hands would fit. Looks like your hands actually wouldn't fit very much of anywhere right now, to be honest. So I'll probably do something like this. It's already getting a little too wide to be kind of reasonable to use as a grip. I'll do another deflate on this. I want to thin it out. loop. Why not? Symmetry? There we go. Yeah, now it's a little more. I think with a little bit more of a lighter always looks better to me. It looks a little bit more cute. I think that shape works quite well. So we'll have some visual interest here because, like I said, we're going to probably put a little window there. And looks like this line is not a straight line. Back to the mask pen, freehand. I think that probably is a byproduct of the deflate. Being destructive when you're experimenting is always a problem. There we go, now we got a straight line there again. That edge got kind of messed with, but overall it's still pretty clean geometry. Like my normal maps are all going to bake just fine. Walrus, just that I wanted to do, it's going to be a marble material. So like I just kind of picture like a nice marble, you know, with a good, you know, basically wanted to do something like that. I said in the beginning of the stream I probably would have to do a little bit more custom manipulation to get that exact shape that I like there. What I like about this is how it's like it still maintains kind of its round. This one's a little bit more square looking, which I'm not wild about. You know, but the inside's still a perfect circle. So I guess it's a matter of just like communicating the roundness via these extrusions here. But again, like, you know, it is still very circular. I'm not really against it. I think, if anything, maybe a giant push. This is going to be a stupid idea, but I'll try it anyway. Stop. Let's get a really massive brush. Let's get move elastic. Too big. Definitely a little rounder. Kind of messed up my geo there a little bit. A little polished by features might hook that up. I'm not sure if that's any better. A little diagonal. I don't see that any bad though. I don't hate that. How is there no symmetrical option for this? You know, it's not great, it's not terrible. A little more round. I'm gonna clone that one off in case I want to come back to it. I think for the most part I'm gonna stick with where I was at though. Yeah. All this topology is nice and clean. Stick with that for now. I'm gonna open these windows back up. Seems my geometry was not symmetrical, so a good thing to do, you have little gaps like that, do little weld points, mirror and weld. Now all that stuff is sewn up. There's a little gap right here that I wasn't aware of, but now we're all set. So this is nice and thin. I think it gives me a little more room here to do something with a grip. Polygroup all. Yeah, see, I like that. A little more squarish than would reasonably make sense, but that's the benefit of building an arcade game. You don't have to make sense. I think I'll probably do another one of those. Inset here. Polygon, inset region. Oops. And that'll be a little window to the emissive. So here's a good decision making time. Like, I know that if I keep this how it is, when I do my auto UV, it's going to create a bunch of little tiny faces there. And I have to weigh that against, you know, it's not a performance issue because I mentioned in my previous change, you're not going to have a big performance hit with that. Come on, a nice bevel might do the trick. A nice bevel on it, I'm not going to have to deal with a 90-degree edge. Yeah. I do like how the bevel sort of like gives it a second bit of depth on the inside. But I feel like this is kind of too far in there for that to look good. this forward. Oops. Now it's just kind of out more. There's a nice bevel on it, and like those will be the emissive faces. And I won't have to do any UV splits. So now I save myself a UV island. You want a sneak peek of the fourth character, Expecto? I think I can do you for. While we're here. Let's see, I'm not sure I have. If I can get it loaded here. My machine's chugging way too much. Ugh. Alright, I'm shutting this down. Sorry. No concepts, fortunately. Gotta close this garbage app now. Jeez. Yeah, new character will be coming online very, very soon. So, just hang tight. How many spans do we have here? Although I'm pretty sure it wasn't working symmetrically just now. Of course not. Okay, so what I noticed is that I wasn't in symmetry when I just made that last edit to the face I want. Here's the nice beveled one that I like, I just made. So let's find out where we are in symmetry here. This is not radial. So that's the x-axis. Let's mirror once in x. Okay, that got me the G I want over there. Now we want to get that geo over to these faces there. So since it's symmetrical, I can just do a rotate 90 about my y-axis. That won't work either, will it? Oh, this will work actually. It's obnoxious. Okay, let's go back to what I was doing. I beveled that and I brought this out. That's what I did. Okay. So we'll do it again since I was not working in symmetry. Same size bevel. Matter of fact, it'd be better just to do it this way. Have it all. Push it in just a hair. Bevel this. Then I'll delete the inside one. Nice. Now we got the symmetry we want, and it's all over the rest of the mesh. We're back in business. Anyway, back to what I was doing with these grips. One thing I noticed is that you see something here. Just to visualize this, duplicate that off. Because this is a divisible by 3, I've broken my symmetry quite thoroughly. I think it's 4 only now. I think when I mirrored it, yeah, I did break it. So I don't have thirds anymore. It's fine. These have way too much geo, so I'll have to clean these up. I'll clean those up further at a later time, I think. Just one thing I want to do is probably just pop this out. Sorry, this song is also quite distracting. Put a little rubber grips on the end of those. I figured this will be emissive. It's unnecessary geo right there. Actually, I kind of like it there. That's better. That's a better shape. Caps on that. It's a little bit better. And I'll go in and I'll take down the amount of, I think that amount of edge, that amount of geometry is too high, but I can just take that down procedurally later on. Yeah, overall, I mean, that's about the amount of detail that goes into one of our discs. I think, let me try one more thing actually. One thing I wanted to do is mess this a little bit. Kind of feel like popping these off, so they're like reads more rubberized. Ooh. Be a little cooler. Yeah, we'll put the neon lights wipeout in the we'll put the neon lights in the texture later. See, I'm gonna play that oval trick again. Just want to see if I can generate a nice little circular shape for the grip. I already have that window there. I want to break up the space a little bit more. It's a little bland on this surface. Not sure if this is gonna do it, but I want to at least see what it looks like. Sometimes the best thing to do is take a look at it. I won't do it. Actually, that's a bad place to do that split anyway. Yeah, we have some concepts for different kinds of discs. I can share some of those right now. Here's like some of the ones I'm going to be doing next. Do like a ninja star. I'm going to be doing like a saw blade one with like a tire around it. This junkyard one is probably more akin to what you're talking about. I'm going to do like a flying drone one that has like copter stuff here. And I want to do the thinking emoji because I just think it's my favorite. It's hilarious. I want to do that. And I also want to figure out some kind of tri design. It's not going to necessarily be this, but I want to do like a 3-blade design that's not connected. I'm going to probably do that one next, actually. Yeah, apologies if we're becoming too cliche for you, Wars. But we got some silly designs in the works. There's something missing from this. I can't quite tell what. I don't like those grips that way, but something about it makes me think. I don't know, everything is so round and those shapes are so boxy that I just don't want them to stay so boxy. This won't work. Yes, yeah, sorry for Doug. I'm kind of just like not talking as much as I was, mostly because I'm kind of experimenting now. I'm realizing I didn't reach all the way back for that one. Let's do a quick mirror and weld and Y. kind of like that, to be honest. Has a little bit more purpose if it kind of blends into that a little bit. Yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, I'm pretty happy with this thing. I'm probably going to leave this alone for now, and then I'll get this high res into the game pretty soon here. And maybe we can start on another one when we have a little bit of time left. You know what? In the interest of, I'm not going to probably finish any more of these discs. At least not in the amount of time I have left. Oh shoot, you're right. Good eye. Thank you, Greggy. Appreciate that. Oh man, what a find by you. Appreciate that there, Greggy. I want to taper off right about there. Nice eye there, Greg. Would have found that out so late, and I would have lost my undo history, so I would have had to rebuild the whole thing. Or at least that whole part of it. But yeah, so you know, like, obviously, in next generation game assets, I talked about this a lot on my opening stream, in next gen game assets, you would want, you know, a lot more high resolution detail, but like, the closest we get to our disk is like right there in the menu when you're selecting it. The rest of the time, it's like super tiny. So like, I kind of stay bulky with it, and you know, as long as like the silhouette kind of reads that like, okay, like there's interest on the edges, it kind of pops off the surface a little bit, that shape is okay. You know, if it rotates kind of cleanly. The main thing I don't like about it right now is that when I rotate it, it's far too square, and people will be like, it does not rotate at all, what the hell. So I got some strategies for that, I think. I wonder if I could do no radial, X, Y, and Z. Like, even just doing that helps, but it doesn't solve the problem. It's really the matter of this part right here, just being the end cut. Just makes things so square. That's all lame. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it as a square for now. I don't care. Good idea. Let's get rid of this song. We'll try something else. Yeah, Wipeout. I'm only streaming on Thursdays. You sure you were talking to me on Tuesday? 'Cause I don't believe I did a sci-fi fantasy theme comment of any kind. Wipeout. Yeah, I just been making. Last week I was making some character faces. This week I'm doing some discs, but mostly, yeah. I don't think I did anything sci-fi. What I wanted to do was okay. If I grab, this is a good little selection trick. You can select by edge loop with the lasso. Good God, man. Okay, got nice little loops there. Now I can grow my visibility area with the visibility tools. That's why I love hotkeys. I need to move visibility stuff to my submenu. There it is. Shrink, shrink, shrink. Yeah, see, that worked. It's still definitely boxy, but the rotation doesn't read as boxy. Like if you rotate it pretty fast, it's gonna be a little more squarish. And what I did there was I just made this all poly loop or poly group, and then grabbed a symmetric. That didn't work. Grabbed a symmetric who's he what's he. I blurred the map a few times to give me a little more real estate there. Yeah, I can do a little bit more, like a light a little better. That did the trick just right. That's the beauty of low poly. When you're in low resolution, the best thing about being in low res is that it's really forgiving, and you can do kind of arbitrary translations that way. It's even a little bit more curvy there. Let's try that on for size. Yeah, obviously still a little boxy, but I think we can get away with it, and I'm happy with it. Make sure I didn't blow this too hard. Yeah, see, it's gonna, whenever you do blur the thing though, you're gonna have some issues with that face topology collapsing on itself. Maybe just a little bit better here. I think if I do, now that I know it works. Let me grab all that, group visible there. Grab one more, group visible there. And now the entire grip will be masked together. If I blur that mask, I think this might be the ticket. Just to be sure that I'm on. This is a good trick too. Like I like to make sure that I'm on one of these axes that I know is symmetrical. If I have radial count 4, right? This is halfway. So now that my transpose line is definitely symmetric to the world origin. Good God, I'm blowing it right now. See how that lines up? Dead center. That means I can be pretty confident that my maneuver here is on the axis I need it to be on. What am I doing here? Okay, so I believe I did a move from here in. It's gonna, yeah, so it's gonna pass that deformation along to those parts that are on the edges. Can't blur it too much though. While still maintaining that distance on the grip. So I think that actually creates an interesting little shape. I think if I can blur that mask once, I can just suck it in there enough where I'm not going to be destructive about the whole thing. But I think it's a little more rounded now. No, see, I got too aggressive with it. Once you get a little aggressive, it starts clipping into that geo there. That's a problem. Insert some geometry here. If there's a little bit of geometry, this might help us. A little extra geo on the sides. Now if we blur that mask, it should stay away from that bevel. Now, the thing about that bevel is it's causing me a lot of trouble. I can just get rid of it. No worries, Wipeout. I look at someone else already enabled it. I'm gonna come back to this bevel and cut a new one after I fix this situation. So, I wonder if I bring it out. I took that bevel off of there for now. I'm just going to leave it kind of dented. And I'll come back in and put that because these are really easy to add. I want to see if I can get this shape just how I want it. Hold shift to snap the transpose, Expecto. You know, I gotta say, I kinda like it. It's a wee bit counterintuitive. What I'll do here. Right. want to maintain this dent happens. Ugh. Unbelievable. Just breaking it now, but I want to take a look at something. Oh, what have I just done? Don't accidentally double click your duplicate button. See, it's like way more roundish though. Not sure that I care, but it's interesting. Later, AQ. Ashley, thanks for hanging out. Next takes you make, have the grips angle outward. I'm interested in what do you mean by that? I'm interested in what you're talking about there. This song is just not good. Oops. Yeah, just that little bit of arc on that piece of it really seemed to add a lot of roundness to the read of it. I think I'm gonna keep it that way. Increase the little pipes there. If anything, I can just do like a straighten that right out. So now it's straight. Too bad. Starting to get a little visual interest here. The entire disc will rotate in game. Pretty happy with that, guys. I think it's a little odd, but it's also kind of interesting looking. And, you know, the whole part of the way I kind of like to work is to sort of find it. Like I knew I could see where the concept is. So that's pretty much a finished disc in a couple hours, which is exciting because now we have one more. Why can't I find the concept of this damn thing? Well, anyway, the concept was pretty different from this, but the more I kind of worked it up, the more I kind of started gravitating towards this different shape. And I think it works for what I'm after anyway. So we got some cleanup to do here though. Let's clean that whole edge up. Those edges weren't getting us anything. That one probably isn't either. Yeah, it's not bad. Kiranari, what's up, man? Yeah, I do this every Thursday with Pixelogic. Pretty much done with this disc. I think I'm going to call it on that. I think I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to put this back in. What's happening all over the mesh? Okay. Q mesh. Hard bevel. I think I deleted these. And that way I don't need to worry about more UV islands, and I can just color those faces with a nice emissive light, a nice spinny light on the outside, a little spinny light on the inside. If anything, I'll probably bring down that B right there. Inside plate probably come down a little. Yeah, but overall I'm pretty happy with that, you know? I kind of like the interest that it kind of pulls into itself and then rolls back out. The edge flow is nice and clean. I'd love to know why those didn't match up, but it's not going to matter because I can just duplicate this geometry. It's symmetrical and rotate around 4 times. Thanks, guys. So yeah, there's the joystick one, just to show the people who just arrived. There'd be a D-pad on this side, buttons on that side, and it would flip over and over again. There's, you know, joysticks right there. This one should be pretty cool when it's done. It's pretty much done, actually. It's probably just going. This probably go right into texturing. So I got 15 minutes left. I will just go back to what I was working on last week and see if we can't get to the point where we. Oh, thanks, Kira. Yeah, I got this. Just like a random dude in Venice for like $10 by the beach. It got me that thing. I thought it was kind of cool. It's fitting for my workspace. I want to go back to what I was working on last week just to close the stream out and see if we can't get a little bit farther on this Stanton head of ours. Looks like the poly paint was a little bit too much last week. I put some eyebrows in maybe. Oops. So I think the last I wanted to do, I was missing eyebrows, so I don't want to do that. Start there. I think I probably want to do like burly, menacing eyebrows, just to fit the rest of his menacing persona. It seems kind of cartoony, yet runs the brow nicely. I think they probably would come to a bit more of a head right there. Maybe right here. Start with that. Alright. Let's pop these eyebrows off. Subtool. Yeah, whatever. Delete hidden, get those other faces out of the way. I did a little extract off of the face mesh there. I forget how much smaller resolution this project is than the other one I'm in. Alright, so let's do no projection, and I'm going to go into polish on the Dynamesh. Resolution there. Feels like that'd be enough. Still want more though. Polish, a little more blur. Yeah, that's better. Let's grab this color from here And the material from here. Fill the eyebrows black. Key when you're making a game without any facial animation, which is what this jam is try to have like an expression, like have like a base countenance kind of, but don't make it too emotive, because then it looks strange when you try to do things that don't fit the facial expression. It's been a challenge for me, my other characters. Now I want to clean this poly paint up a little bit because the darken the eyes, I never actually got around to like painting out the highlights and getting back to a normal place with it. So I have a little color spray brush that I use. Do yourself a favor and make yourself your custom brush that you use a lot. I found myself always picking the RGB brush and then going and setting up all the sprays, and I just made a skin color spray. It's perfect for pores, and just so convenient to always be able just to click something and be like, okay, I'm painting now. All right, let's get this a little more highlights in here. More sun damage on the cheeks, maybe. Keep the noses a little more dark because the areas where it's closer to like the thinner skin is closer to blood, so subsurface scattering will let more blood peek through. That's why the eyes tend to be a little bit darker. So I didn't do the back of the head all that much. Eyebrows seem to fit there okay. Yeah, this is a great channel, Karanari. They just a bunch of ZBrush artists are just making stuff on here every day. So yeah, they asked me if I wanted to do some stuff, and I said, well, we're shipping Disc Jam in a little bit, so I have to make Disc Jam stuff, but I'm more than happy to make some stuff if you don't mind if it's all Disc Jam related. And they said, do whatever you want. So in lieu of a dev stream, I've just been doing this every Thursday, and it's been really fun. And at first it was really tricky. It's really tough to kind of get good at, not even good, but like be able to talk and work. Usually I'm working in dead silence, and when things don't go my way, I can take time to figure out why, and I'm not gonna worry about being on camera for all that. But with a little bit of time, a little bit of patience, starting to get the hang of it, I think, a little bit. I actually finished something today, which is the first time, and I haven't done that in any of my streams yet. There shouldn't be as many pores in the earlobe. It should have discoloration at the top, but it shouldn't be that kind of porous like this is. I'm gonna smooth that out. Pretty happy with that. I think I can start going back into details. Just get some of the fat in the face to sort of start catching those lights the right way. So it's a little bit not rounded on the eyeball there. Now it's time to start breaking some of the symmetry. As you'll notice, this is all right down the middle, symmetric. That's not realistic. It's not what real life is like. It's really just for blocking stuff out. So I'm going to start busting some of this stuff up. putting in some better clay, more interesting skin folds. Of course somebody's at the door. I'm gonna ignore that because it doesn't affect me right now. Pinch that little nose frown right up a little bit there. Maybe spread it out down here a little bit. That little mass of the face start connecting with this. Yeah, that doorbell is like the worst doorbell in Los Angeles. It is like, for a guy who keeps pretty odd hours as well, like work-wise, you wouldn't believe how often it's just like, it's like an air horn. So, you know, for a guy who works pretty late, to be woken up by that thing is jarring. Apologies to the stream. I know that's, you just had to hear that awfulness. Cut this up a bunch and then buff it back. Usually also like one like right there. I guess coming up towards the end here. This next week I'll probably do some more discs, and then I'll just kind of come back and forth from Stanton's head as time allows. See if I can finish another one next week. I got a few more concepts I want to do. You know, maybe we'll do a vote on which one I do next week. There's our choices. Those are the ones I want to do next. Probably the junkyard one, the one that's all wooden. I think that'll be a fun one. It's also going to be tough to make that one feel round. But I think that one looking square and boxy is more, you know, forgiven. Just based on the fact that it's like wood planks. Alright guys. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Stanton actually was like super asymmetric. He had like a big armor chunk on his other side, but it all got changed. Alright guys, thanks for hanging out. That was a lot of fun. Got something done today for the first time on my stream, so I'm excited about that. Got a new asset finished. We'll do more of this every Thursday. Yeah, let's make some stuff for the game, and then we'll throw it in there and play around with it. Alright guys, signing off. Catch you next time.